In this episode of the Hua Hin Today podcast, I'm joined by Tim Critchley, who spent a decade in Thailand before the pandemic forced him and his young family back to the UK. He talks about the move, running a pub while he was there, and why they chose to return to Thailand and to Hua Hin for a better life. Tim also shares about his wife's coffee shop, the Trio Coffee Shop on Soy 102, along with plans about the Harmony Family Festival, which is a family-themed music entertainment festival coming to Hua Hin in 2026. Don't forget to like, follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Tim, thank you for joining us today. Podcast of firsts for me, because everyone who I've had on so far, they're either my mate or I know them a bit, right?
We can be mates.
Yeah, and I hope we will be, but we've only met very briefly, once before. So what I'm trying to say is I'm getting my excuses in early that this episode will either be really good or crap.
Of course, it'll be awesome.
But yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Give me a little bit of background about yourself and how you ended up being in Hua Hin.
Well, it was a dark and stormy night.
It normally is. The story of my life, that too.
No, I went to Australia as a backpacker, so like a late backpacker. I think I was like 28. Ended up in Sydney, and I was actually about 2 years in, and no, more than that, 2.5 years in, and I started studying Spanish with a view to breaking out of what everybody else was doing there. I was kind of getting bored of going out, getting drunk every night in pubs.
Were you working out there?
Yeah, I was on a working holiday visa.
Yeah.
So really, really good times were had, but it was kind of after 2.5 years, it was getting to the point where I was like, okay, what's next? So I was studying Spanish with a view to traveling all of South America, because I knew a couple of people who had done it. I thought that sounds really cool. But while that was happening, and I'd already started my Spanish lessons and stuff, and a friend of mine at the time who was a bit of a tearaway, he said, I want to visit Thailand. Never been there. So we both came over on an exploratory visit, and wow, I mean, you can imagine a couple of 28-year-old single guys.
What year is this?
This was 2002.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so a little bit of a while ago. And I think basically after about 48 hours here, we just got on the phone. We're like, guys, pack up our stuff. We are moving to Thailand. So that's pretty much what happened. Yeah. So we ended up over here, backpacking here.
It was never part of the plan, right?
It wasn't part of the plan at all. No, I think once you arrive in Thailand, all the plans go down even more.
Everyone we've had sat there so far doing all different kinds of things.
Stock response.
The one thing they have in common here is never part of the plan.
Yeah. I don't think anyone looks at Thailand and goes, when you've come from a background in the UK and you've worked in the city or you worked, professionally, and you think, you know what? I just fancy living in Thailand.
Yeah.
It hardly ever happens, is it?
Yeah.
But didn't then, maybe more.
Maybe more now, but
I've actually met people since arriving in Hua Hin who didn't know Thailand at all, and they chose Hua Hin.
Yeah.
So that just shows what, happened to Hua Hin. Hua Hin's becoming like this thing.
Yeah.
So
where were you living then in Thailand?
Flashpacking. Mainly based in Bangkok, but we weren't living. We were flashpacking and backpacking,
Okay.
learning, doing TEFL.
Yeah, been there.
Anything to try and stay a bit longer. And I think that sort of lasted for about 10 months the first time round. And then the bank balances were expired. So it was like, hey, guess we'll have to go home, mate.
Go home to the real world.
So then we start that whole thing that everybody does is like trudging back like a naughty schoolboy late for dinner, going home when it's dark, I don't want to go. I go back, get a job, and I'm always thinking, how do I get back to Thailand? So yeah, that happened a couple of times, I would say. And then the credit crunch happened in 2008. And I was like, I'd already got a bit of holiday coming up because I was working in the city at the time as a programmer for investment banks.
Oh, right.
For the traders on the.
That's like a proper job.
It was
like a real job.
I'm back somewhere in the distant past. And I thought, well, I haven't been to Thailand for a while, so you know what, I booked that. And then somebody else said, oh, we're going to go skiing. So I said, okay, I'll go skiing. I'll do that the week before. So I booked both of these trips. So I basically went skiing for a week, came back, dumped off a duffel bag full of ski gear, picked up my flip-flops and boardies, jumped on another plane, and come over here. And so the whole time I was over here, I think it was Songkran at the time. And the whole time I was over here, I was like phoning my boss or sending him emails going, have I got a job to come back to? Because this was credit crunch time, And he said, yeah, no problem. It's all right. It's all good. She said, he's fine. So on that visit, I bumped into a young lady, as you do.
Yeah.
And she's now my wife. Anyway, we'll come back to that bit of the story later, maybe. So I went back, and 2 weeks later, they said, sorry, all the contractors have to go. Things are worse than you thought. I was like, you know what? That's not such a bad thing.
All right.
So, yeah, I think within about a month or two, I was back in Thailand again. Really keen to get back.
How old are you at this time?
Oh, numbers. I think I was 35 at the time.
Okay, that was quite young though at that time. Someone moving to Thailand. Yeah.
So I come back over, and as I said, I already met this lovely young lady, and I was in no hurry to go back, and I thought, well, I'd give myself a year. A year sounds like a really long time.
Yeah.
Give myself a year to become profitable, and this didn't happen, did it? But I did have a really good time, and I think it took me 9 years to become profitable.
In doing what?
So just the first many years was just ducking and diving and doing stuff online, and
I've been there doing that. Yeah.
And come sort of 2016, I'd got together with a bunch of other guys in Bangkok. There's another sort of bit of my history, DJing at university, like a lot of English speakers. Doing parties and stuff like that. So that's another bit we'll come back to. And so there was 5 of us to start with, and then we started doing these parties in Bangkok, and I had a company and set up got all legal and stuff like that. So we're doing all these things, and that was going great. And then through the nightlife scene, I met some guys who've been there a lot longer, and they set up a company which a lot of people know about in Bangkok, which has a lot of nightclubs and restaurants and bars and stuff. So I started doing marketing for them. So this was like,
Are you still DJing it?
Well, only for me and my daughter, but at the moment. But so that was going really good then. Yeah, so that was literally the time when the lights started really coming on. I had my night job, I had my day job, and everything was going great guns. And then obviously COVID came along. That was the end of that. Yeah, sitting around for a while at home, obviously, like we all did, wondering what's coming next and what would you do? And then went back to the UK for about 3 years.
Promote your business on the Hua Hin Today podcast. Email info@huahintoday.com or DM us now. Did you think you had no choice than to go back to the UK?
Yeah. I think at that stage I would have done anything but go back. But, I think I missed out a little bit of the story with getting married and having a daughter and stuff like that. So in those 9 years, all that happened. Then the burden and responsibility of having a family, it changes my thing to do. If I'd been there, there's no way I'd have been like eating mama noodles rather than go home.
Yeah.
So the prospect of going home when, my daughter was obviously getting older and getting close to school age, I was like, well, this might not be such a bad time. Maybe things are going to work out. So we packed up and went over there.
The thought of me going back to live in the UK kind of gives me the fear. I think, like really.
But I think we were all in the fear at the time, weren't we?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. At that time, I wasn't working for Hua Hin Today. I was working for somebody else, and I can just remember thinking, we had to take a pay cut actually at that time, and everyone in the company did. But I can still remember at that time thinking, at least I've got a job, kind of thing. And I just kind of held on to it.
So my wife lost her job. She was working in hotels. I lost my job, all of them. So there wasn't any more entertainment to be done.
Yeah.
No prospects of it happening.
And at that time as well, you didn't know when he was going to come back. And that was the other thing.
It did come back a couple of times. I did tough it out until 2020. 21. I toughed it out 21 because that was like sort of like a 9-month period, I think, from April 20 through till January 21. I just didn't look like anything was getting better. Kept getting lockdowns and reopening and lockdown. It was just like a cycle of just like, well, UK says they're going to be open again in like, May, I think the plan was March or May or something. So we thought, well, we'll get over there and get positioned, get my daughter into school. She can have an English education, learn a bit more about where I came from, and might just work out. And okay. So to add another string to my bow, we took on a pub, as you do. Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Where did you move back to in the UK?
This was Devon.
Is that where you're from?
No, I was raised in Dorset, lived university years in London. But yeah, so there's this pub came available through extended family, and they said, well, there's a pub here, it'd be great. It'll work out. This should be fine. What could possibly go wrong? Obviously now in hindsight.
What were you thinking when you were going into that?
I was thinking, well, this is kind of everyone's dream to have their own pub. I mean, it was
Like hard work running a pub.
Well, they don't tell you this at the time, do you? But you just think it'd be part of the furniture, like, encourage.
Oh yeah, what, like a nice pub in
to buy me shot,
and where was it? Dorset or somewhere?
This was Devon.
Okay, nice pub in Devon. You think, oh, it couldn't be that bad.
Yeah, you see all the photos, and then there's the this pub was built in 1680.
Right.
It's just after the Civil War.
Right.
Yeah. So bags of history.
Yeah.
It was like something out of a chocolate box.
Nice, country pub kind of thing.
Thatched and a chimney, and lived in a tiny little village. And you see all the photos of Devon.
Yeah.
The photographers only go there when the sun comes out, which is a very small part of the year.
Okay.
So so when you're living there, yeah, it was different. The reality is always different any time you go somewhere. But I think, yeah.
How did your wife settle into?
Yeah, so that was what I was going to say. It was tough for my wife because she was Bangkok born and bred. Always lived in a big city. She'd followed me to Dorset, stuff like that a few times. We've been to Devon together because of the connections there.
Yeah.
But
it's a different thing to live in a place, right? She might have visited before with you.
Yeah, exactly. So having a car and driving around and just knowing going home and stuff, and having a job to go back to, a bit different to being locked in a haunted house from 40 years ago. It wasn't really haunted, but it felt haunted when we first got there because nobody was in there before we got there. It was empty for a while. So it's a bit like that scene out Shaun of the Dead, where there's a zombie apocalypse outside and you can't go out.
That's Devon for you, mate.
And the fact that we were obviously quarantined as soon as we landed, so it was 3 weeks, literally locked in a pub, which doesn't sound so bad, but there was no alcohol to just to make it easier. So so that was a whole thing on its own, character building. We learn a lot. And
did you get your daughter in school there and stuff?
Oh, yeah. So she did all that. So there's good things about it, but yeah, I think because obviously in Thailand there's a lot of perceptions about the West, like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to go and live in Western country and get a visa and the right to live there and blah blah blah. And we did enter all that. We started the whole process and put the money in and did all the paperwork and blah blah blah. Yeah, so it was tough because the economy still wasn't right. There was a bit of a push straight after 20. I think when everywhere opened in May, March.
Right.
March 21, and for the first sort of 9 months to a year, I think it was great. And then you
like great running the pub.
Well, there was money coming in. Life was hard, but you were being rewarded for it. So it wasn't a grind, put it that way. And that was, you could look forward to the time when maybe we can hire management and sort of take our foot off the gas a little bit. So there's all those dreams. But when Ukraine happened, suddenly the economy dumped. Nobody had money to spend. All the costs of everything went up. So
that noticeable, was it?
Oh yeah, massively. The cost of gas. Like one of those big tanks because you're off grid there. So one of those big butane tanks out in the back garden.
Right.
They used to cost, I think it was like £700 to fill it when we first got there. By the time we left, it was more than double.
No way.
Yeah.
And what about you? Because you'd obviously at that time, and I guess you'd been out of the UK for how long? You'd been like 9 years living in Thailand, have you? So for you to go back to the UK, did you find it different when you'd left?
Yeah.
I wonder that going back. I've only ever visited on holiday.
Plus, it was going from my memories of living in London, living like a cedar London, with a really decent income and living very essentially and being able to do whatever the hell I wanted, go on holidays whenever I wanted as a contractor, to being locked in in the middle of nowhere, a little bit different. But, when you've got a project and you're doing it for your family, all these things.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's all fine.
Yeah.
You don't mind as long as you can see progress and, you start building a strategy in your head of where you're going to go with it all. So that's all acceptable, provided it looks like it's going to work.
Yeah.
But once the reality sets in, that you think, well, this is just getting worse and worse, and then there's a change of government coming, and this government isn't too famous for making things work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So there was it became clear after 2 years. I was busy working away slyly on my wife, saying, we're about going back to Thailand now.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah. So was there one point in like you running the pub where you thought we need to get back to Thailand, or was it like a gradual build up?
It was definitely a gradual build up for me. Some sort of flashes in the pan. I think, okay, maybe things will work out, and then like getting dumped again, to look at the economy and listening to the news while I'm peeling spuds. And then we came on holiday back to Thailand in January 23. My wife was keen by that time to come and see her family and stuff. So after 2 years, so it was convenient, but it was also useful for me because I was like, okay, well, hopefully this will sort of, ring those little nostalgia bells, and she'll start thinking a bit more about it. So yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Good.
We all came here and we all had a great time, and it was just like so nice. Life is so easy. The sun's always out. People are happy. Things are cheap.
It sounds like you were having that moment, when you first come here and you think all those things, it was like you were almost living them again, or a big
stark reminder, that these are the reasons I went there in the first place. But obviously having a family and stuff, you don't know how these things affect your outlook or
of course,
your options, So going back to pre that time, really, there was, we could go all the way back to university days, when I was,
organising parties.
Sounds
much more interesting.
So running club nights and stuff like those small things, but still, dipping my toes in and DJing some of the clubs around London and stuff. So that was in my blood anyway, and I had built up a bit of a record collection and stuff. Very old school. Showing my age a lot here because nobody uses records anymore. So that kind of stopped when I left. There was a bit of, obviously lots of parties in Australia, but I didn't have too many opportunities to get behind the decks. So didn't have too much there. So coming back to Thailand, obviously, like I said, I'd sort of got back into that. And so this was a reoccurring theme, doing events and mixing with people who like the same kind of vibe and just enjoying that feeling, doing festivals as well. So we did like a festival down in Koh Samet 3 years in a row.
What festival was that?
It was you're gonna have to cut this bit. Songkran in Samet.
Okay,
Songkran in Samet, yeah. And that was done at a little beach club, north part of the island, which was just fantastic as a Songkran thing. Obviously, everyone come down from Bangkok.
Yeah, it's a good party anyway. Yeah.
Get on a boat, sail across for 30 minutes or whatever, land at this club, and just have an amazing 2 or 3 days there.
Had you spent time living on Koh Samet then?
Yeah, I was there for 2.5 years.
Right.
Yeah, so that was a year in Bangkok when I first arrived. Then I went down there because after a year, getting myself to be profitable, I needed to find something else apart from sitting in Bangkok, just enjoying life a bit too much. And I was like, okay, well, let's go and see how things are from a grassroots level. Start from like, an island life and see where we can get to with that. So yeah, I did a few things down there, but I made a lot of contacts as well. That was important. And my wife then, she wasn't my wife at the time, but she joined me down there to start working in hotels. So yeah, we built up some good connections between us. So all this to say that this whole thing of like doing music and getting people together and finding a reason to bring people together and to do festivals, this was all sort of building up in the background. But obviously having a family, that sort of restricts, the late night shenanigans a lot.
Yeah.
So I banged that on the head once my daughter was old enough. And obviously going to the UK, living in a pub. No, we were doing events there, but it was more sort of acoustic-based bands and stuff like that, which is great as well, but a little bit different.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we came back here, we ended up back in Bangkok. We were looking at Hua Hin even before we got back. We were looking at Hua Hin just because I was thinking, where do I really want to raise?
Yeah. Why were you thinking about this area?
Well, Hua
As in most or anywhere else?
I mean, having spent so many years in Bangkok, I kind of knew what Bangkok had to offer. And there was a lot of, obviously there's traffic.
Yeah.
The school fees are massive, and
Pollution. I always.
Yeah, I think for I had a great upbringing in the south of England. Lots of woods and visits to the beach and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of what I had in my mind's eye. My daughter should experience as well. So, Bangkok can't really offer you that. So I think
You didn't think of going back to like island life, going back to Samet or some islands somewhere?
Having lived on an island for 2.5 years, you realise that as romantic as it sounds, unless you're a particular type of person, living on an island gets very restricting after a while.
Yeah, does it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a bit like a goldfish bowl kind of thing.
Very much so. And it's quite interesting because, and you might find this yourself when you're going through life, you kind of have these periods. You can always look back at your life.
Yeah, I'm going through my podcast phase now.
So, and you kind of, it's almost like it's like an episode of Alice in Wonderland or something like that. You keep bumping into the same kind of characters, same type of personalities. But in a city, there's more sort of people to spread those personalities through.
Okay.
But when you go to an island, they're concentrated in a fewer number of people. So you get some real cranks. Do you know what I mean? And you probably end up one yourself as well, but you don't notice.
Yeah, you can't escape.
You can't
really. Yeah.
And
so it's not as easy to avoid them, I guess.
Yeah. So all these personalities, it's not just.
I've never been to Koh Samet. What's like the makeup of expats there or tourists visiting? Like,
well, at the time,
is it a lot of Thai tourists go there?
Tons, yeah. Koh Samet's been famous as a romantic getaway or a first stop for a young couple.
Right.
There's a particular saying which I won't repeat on air, which relates to sort of basically go to Samet and you'll find somebody to love and sort of thing. So it's kind of like a Thai, a kind of slightly more conservative version of Ibiza for a lot of Bangkokians. So even though
sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, even though the clubs are a lot more sort of beach type clubs and stuff like that, they're not like sort of Phuket style.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of Thai tourists, but obviously in the high season you get a lot of Western tourists as well.
Yeah,
and a lot of repeat customers. People who come back every year. That's the only thing they do. Go straight to Samet and they'll stay there for like 2 or 3 months, and then they go home, and come back again.
Okay.
But there's people I met some great friends of people who were born and raised there, lived their whole lives there. Really nice people. I met loads of Westerners who were very nice. A lot of people helped us out, helped me out, and great community actually. Having said the personalities.
No, I hear you. Yeah. But island life wasn't going to be for this next phase. You guys coming back here?
No. I mean, you've got a family as well.
Yeah.
So like kids of a certain age, you don't know. You always when it's your first one, you're like sort of up to sort of the age of 4 or 5, you're always worried in case something drastic happens and you need to get urgent medical attention. You need a school, decent school, and blah blah blah. So you're kind of thinking everything has to be perfect.
Yeah.
So we're kind of going through that stage as well. As Hua Hin just ticked a lot more boxes. The weather. First of all, I think compared to Rayong province, which is where Koh Samet is, that's the wettest province.
Right. Okay.
Because a lot of weather comes in from that, and Hua Hin is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So yeah, much better to come here. I know people complain about the air quality, but for me, it's we've been here since last Christmas, and there was a couple of times when you got a bit of a tickle, but nowhere near as bad as Bangkok.
Yeah.
So I'd much prefer Hua Hin
or Chiang Mai, the north, where it's
from what I hear, it's not even worth
considering. Yeah. Same. Yeah.
So Hua Hin ticked tons of boxes, and we looked into that, and we came down actually when we first come over, and we had a look around. We just couldn't see a clear way of making it work. Plus, I think my wife needed to reconnect with her home city and her friends.
Okay,
and so,
that's understandable, and that's something maybe people moving back and forward, or maybe don't consider. Right? Did you feel like that ever when you went back to the UK? Kind of,
Bangkok.
No, but you had to like. Kind of
go back to London
or almost like reconnect with the UK a little bit. I think if I went back there, I think I would.
You would, yeah. I think you would, yeah. Particularly now.
Definitely now, yeah.
Particularly now.
I think it's very different. I've been here like 12, 14 years, and I think the UK is a very different place now from when I was there.
100%.
And I think if I did go back, there would have to be a massive adjustment.
Yeah. I think the price
gives my palms even a bit sweaty just talking about it.
Just looking at the prices alone, when you step off the plane and you walk out into the arrivals area, you've collected your luggage, and then you go out. The first thing you need to do is get a SIM card. You go to one of those SIM card shops. I mean, they used to be quite cheap, maybe £5 buy a SIM card. I mean, I think the last time I went back, it was more like £25.
Right.
That's just for basic,
and like day-to-day stuff, utilities. My mates tell me how much they're spending on.
Yeah. So, and don't forget, this all changed drastically while I was there, and it's changed again since I come over here.
Yeah.
So I've been back for over a year now.
Yeah.
And nearly 2 years. And so I think probably, without being too dramatic, it's probably changed as much in that period as it has when you left.
If people are thinking that they might move back to the UK, I guess that's the only experience you've got, but what kind of tips would you give them? Is there any tips or anything that you found that you think, I wish I'd have
Take lots of money?
Yeah.
You're going to need it. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yeah, I don't really know. I think I'm probably as out of touch now after 2 years as I was when I first arrived. When I say first arrived back in 21. So the rate of change is accelerating a lot.
Yeah, quick.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really given it a lot of thought. There probably would be a couple of things that come up, but I would think long.
Yeah, you kind of part that to the back of your mind. I guess I
don't really want to think of that.
Yeah. So then you move down here, and what are you thinking in terms of family life then when you get here? Because now I guess your daughter would be how old then? She's a bit older.
When we got down here. I mean, we'd already scoped it out. We'd spent a lot of time down here, and particularly when we were planning the move, we decided we were going to make the move, and we'd found the right place. We basically wanted to find somewhere for my wife to live with her family, her close family, where they could all live together and basically work on a project and get some fulfillment and just have that enjoyment of living together, particularly for my daughter, because I was young and when my grandma died, and I was kind of hoping that she would have a chance to connect on a better, deeper level than I did. So that was part of the decision, and obviously have to make sure the wife's happy. The wife's happy, and else can be worked on.
Yeah,
sure. So with our experience of running a pub, we'd always look after we'd opened the pub. We're looking at all the cafes and going, maybe we should have had a cafe. You can shut the doors anytime you want. People might be miffed, but they won't. They won't abuse you. I mean, literally, if you dare to close a pub at the wrong time of day, even if there's nobody there, you don't expect anyone to be there, and you have to go and do something like go and pop out to the shops or something, and you can come back to some nasty reviews on TripAdvisor. Those people never darken your door again, and some people won't darken your door because of something that a previous landlord did. So it really is, every possible way to make it hard. That's what faces.
Yeah, if it's not hard already, you got all this other stuff.
So cafes, definitely, if we were going to do hospitality, which my wife obviously has, that was her entire career, was working with 5-star hotels. So, ultimately qualified for the role. So just had to find the right space. So she wants to be not too far from the middle of town after her experience in Devon. So we found a place that was literally, 2 minutes walk from Blueport.
All right.
And it was a little cafe with a little bit of garden and space to live.
Okay, nice. What's it called?
It's called Trio. We called it Trio. Yeah, it was a different name before that. It was basically like a camping theme, but it's right on the start of Soy 102.
Okay.
So you got this little road just before you hit Blueport. It's so small you don't almost miss it because it's a one-way section, so it's just wide enough to get a car up there. So we decided there was 3 of us. There's a few trees in the garden, and we decided to call it Trio. So,
oh, nice.
Okay, little plug.
Very good.
So she set up there. I helped her as much as I could, just to get started. And she's great at it. She does all the baking now. She does a lot of cooking. She just hired some help. And all this, obviously, with my daughter, in situ, so they can spend time together without her, having that lifestyle of working in a hotel like before, where she'd be out all day basically, coming home after my daughter had gone to bed, which was not ideal at all. So yeah, all these things are all about making that family work, family lifestyle work, quality of life over everything else. So that's why we chose Hua Hin. Yeah.
Yeah, if there's ever one reason to do it, that's it, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think Hua Hin is right on the cusp of somebody going, in the government or in the tourism or a section or something going. Hua Hin is the hub of families, in Thailand.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you say that, because when I first came in, I've said this on other podcasts, but when I first came here, it was really only older European retirees, really.
Yeah.
And I've seen it since COVID. In fact, it was before COVID, but COVID's accelerated it. That there are many more people, younger people like yourself, younger families. You see a lot more now, Western couples and families moving here. And I think that's maybe, blame people in the media for this, but I think it's still always touted as a retirement destination.
Yeah.
But that doesn't nearly go far enough in telling the whole story. It's always in these lists. There's a famous one. It made the Forbes top 3 places to retire, right? Hua Hin is in the top 3 places to retire. There's other lists as well. But that really doesn't tell
it takes
the
a
whole
while
story.
for that stuff to catch up. They all redigest each other's output.
Yeah.
Say but anyways, so it's going to take a while for that ship to sort of change tack a bit. But I don't think it has to change tack necessarily, because ultimately, people who are retired and people who have young families want pretty similar things. Some obviously fun parks and things like that, hyperactive things to do. Apart from that, they want safe roads. They want places to roam around. They want lots of shops. They want lots of options, and all of that's here now. 2 shopping malls in a city this size isn't bad.
Yeah,
and they're both good.
2 Uniqlos.
2
I've never looked so Scandinavian in all my life. Where else has got that?
It's an interesting aspiration to discover at this time of life. And I think that sort of psychological distance of 3 to 3.5 hours to get down from Bangkok is bridge too far for a lot of people who just want things Instagrammable instantly. They just want to jump in a taxi and get there. So they have a choice between somewhere that's 2 hours away, Pattaya, or here they're going to choose just everything. So that's kind of natural filter, which is great for everybody who's here for all kinds of other reasons. Plus, obviously, it's a royal city, so I think there's some limitations on what can be done here.
Yeah, which is a positive thing, I think.
Absolutely, for people like us, and for retirees, if people want something different, they go to Phuket. Thailand's great for all that.
All those places I like. I like Phuket, I like Pattaya, but I can never live in any of them.
No.
This
if only I had the weather.
Yeah. This, where we are, is the best, I think, for living, and it's a brilliant place to raise a family.
Let's keep that quiet. Let's not tell anybody. Don't put it in.
Nobody will be watching this anyway, so I don't got to worry about that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that brings us nicely on to. You touched on your background in organising festivals and music events.
Yeah.
And it brings us on nicely to an event that's planned in Hua Hin in January.
Yes, January, late January, shall we say, or possibly might be moving it a little bit up to February.
Okay.
The date is still flexible at the moment for a few different reasons. But the dream is definitely solid. So, that kind of started on the beach.
And it is, go on.
It's going to be called Harmony Festival, Harmony Family Festival. And the concept was born on a beach, Sai Noi Beach, sitting there looking around going, wouldn't it be fantastic to have a place where families could come and just hang out and see some fantastic light shows and some fire juggling and some live music and keep it organic, and not too rowdy, and sort of a place that people wouldn't mind bringing young kids to as well as older kids, and really keep it family focused. Obviously, that's a reason for me because I've got a family, so I'm a little bit biased, but maybe part of it is the fact that I used to, organize events and stuff like that, and something deep inside wants to sort of.
Yeah, that's definitely it. From what the small bit I know about you, Tim, I can see that's definitely the reason. Yeah, that's good though. Yeah.
With a couple of friends talking about it and sort of musing about it for a few months, and we're like, oh, where would be good? Where would be good? And it wasn't until we went to the jazz festival. I think it was back in March. Was it March?
Yeah, there was one earlier this year, I think. Yeah,
And
March, April, maybe.
Yeah, and then there was a little follow-on one in Petrovadi.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Petrovadi School. They got the BCC school as part of that, and then a little bit left of that, if you're looking at it from the road, there's a huge patch of land that I never realised was there. But this festival, this little mini part of the festival, is based there with this band from Loy. And we just looked around and go, wow, look at this huge open area, trees, a nice winding path, some facilities there, and the proximity to town and the main road.
Yeah.
And we're like, wow, this could be it, And then it just all clicked. It was like, well, Petrovadi is an arts and performance school, famous as an institution through Thailand and beyond as well, not least because of the founder. Kind of summoned up the nerve to go and put this proposal together or this idea together and asked them politely, is this something you'd even consider? They were open to it. Looking back on it, it kind of works, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a nice fit as well for that location. Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
So from there, the positivity grew, and just seemed like everybody you talked to was just like really positive about the idea, and everyone thought it was great because I think a lot of people we talk to have families, and I think there's a huge density of families here, so you're going to strike something.
Yeah,
just by talking to people. So from there grew all these ideas about how we would, how it all fit together. We would maybe need some sponsors, obviously, to help us make sure that it was properly funded. And then we'd need some charitable side of it to balance the equation. Some great charities in Hua Hin, and through BECC, we were able to connect with, at least one charity, Jungle Aid, which works along the border of Myanmar, working with homeless people, stateless people, shall we say, and they provide education and infrastructure for them, and healthcare as well. So that's a great side of it. It ties in nicely with what we're doing anyway, being family focused. And so working with talking to them,
the kind of thing just starts to snowball a bit.
It did snowball,
grow and grow.
Yeah, and from there on, it was just more a case of like, well, how do we get enough expertise in to actually make something like this work logistically, So that's kind of where we started, and we're sort of working through at the moment in terms of getting all the pieces of the puzzle lined up. But the idea is, in terms of the festival, to have a large area for people to wander around, to have a safe space for kids to come and enjoy lots of different activities. So there'll be music on a main stage. We'll have an area for parents to chill out. We'll have activity zones for the kids to do stuff. Maybe should I mention a bar?
Yeah, you can do. Mention whatever you want. Yeah.
So there'll be a bar there as well.
Oh, you can't mention that. Hey, you mention whatever you want. Yeah. Yeah, you need somewhere for the adults to go, right?
Well, I think it's going to be an all-day thing.
So you envisage like live performances, activities, something for the adults.
Yeah. Opening 10 o'clock in the morning.
Food, drinks,
food trucks, merchandise, crafts and stuff from local areas. There's a human circus troupe based in Pai.
Right.
Who go and tour all over the country. They love touring and go to schools and just making sure that the kids get an experience that they've never seen before.
Yeah, okay.
So they're on board to come down, and they basically will take over that kind of improvised element of the entertainment. So they'll be roaming through the whole thing and doing other little shows here and there and doing some theatrical shows as well. Another important part is that we wanted to involve kids from communities which might not get this kind of experience otherwise. So we thought, if maybe we get all the schools to bring in a band, or maybe they got a dance troupe, or maybe they got a five-a-side football team.
Yeah.
And then they can all play off against each other, or they can go and perform on the stage, and we can find something for them all to do. And obviously we're not going to charge our performers to come into the festival. So they'll come in and they'll have a great day. They'll rub shoulders with people from different walks of life.
All aspects of the community, I guess. So
Yeah,
coming
and
together, yeah.
You know, I don't like the idea of having like an exclusive kind of place just for Westerners to hang out. You know, I mean, I think obviously people gravitate towards zones where they're familiar with different things, but I think this idea could appeal enough to people from Thai culture as well as Western cultures as well. So that's a key part of it, is to try and use it as a showcase for talent, young talent.
Whatever your background.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. You mentioned about sponsorship. How's that going? Are you looking for sponsors?
Well, absolutely.
And what sort of things are you looking for?
It's difficult because we're a startup from zero. We're definitely bootstrapping. So yeah, we're still looking for a couple of key sponsors, because it's important to have somebody who sees the value in the work that we're going to wind up doing, and is interested in maybe fulfilling part of their corporate social responsibility plan. There's a lot of companies who do this, and we've spoken to quite a few already. And so it's a case of just finding one that sort of matches the objectives really of what we're doing right now, what our plans are. So even if it's say let's say, for example, corporate sponsor with an interest in families, like maybe doing medical
healthcare provider, insurance, those type of things.
Building homes, maybe even vehicles. You know, there's a lot of target market down here, and a lot of target market in the family space, which definitely going to be useful for a corporate sponsor like that.
No, it's good. I like it. So we spoke about this, was it a month ago maybe or something, when we first met, and I really like the sound of the event to start with. And you touched on something at the start, is how different aspects of the community have already come to you and kind of been interested and started to support it. That's something I find here all the time. That's one of the good things about working here, really.
I think it's definitely something new for me in Hua Hin. I mean, I never tried to do anything family based before, so I don't know. It probably exists other places too, but it's very strong in Hua Hin that I've noticed. We've had great support from Surf Radio. We've had great support from yourself. We've had great support from a lot of small businesses as well, and small sponsors. And the charities were great with recommending contacts and opening doors for us. So there has been a huge level of support. Yeah. And it's just about gathering enough of that together to hit the critical mass where we can press the button.
How many people would you expect to attend that kind of thing? Have you got any estimates on that?
The zone the area, the site could hold hundreds.
Right. Okay.
Possibly, I would say up to 1,000.
Right. Okay. And it'd be an all day thing. You said 10 a.m. to what?
All day,
10 p.m. or
10 o'clock in the morning. Starting off, obviously, that's a good time for young kids to get out and start doing stuff and join in. The Spoon Circus, who are the human circus, Spoon Circus, they can be there for most of the day.
Okay.
Making things interesting. There'll be activities for all different age groups as well. So everything from finding different types of plants to building bug hotels. Lots of different we want to try and keep it organic, outdoorsy based. Maybe even a soul course a sponsored assault course for parents and kids to get over this assault course and to build sponsorship that way. We're looking at all kinds of different interesting activities for the whole family, really. So that's what we want. Lots of layered activities, all within a safe space, so that we don't have to worry about where's the kids, are they okay?
Yeah, good. Okay, let me recap. So it's the Harmony Family Festival.
Yep.
Looking at end of January, Feb time.
Yep.
Date to be confirmed.
Yep.
You're looking for sponsorship.
Yep.
You could do with some support there.
Yeah. Looking for some big guns to come in, really, and just sort of give us that anchor.
Yeah, particularly around CSR and families and kids as well, I guess.
From local communities and the schools, which are a bit more rural. If we can sort of provide some sort of support through the charity, so the work of the two charities, Jungle Aid and Hua Hin Heroes, and they both do that kind of work.
Yeah.
So if we can work with the sponsor to provide some support out to those communities, that'll provide a long-term benefit to a festival. And it's not just to be a festival for that one day. Ideally, next year we'll be running 2 days. That was the original plan. So we'll have a 2-day festival.
Okay.
But we don't want the bit in between to be like, forgotten about either.
Yeah.
So that's what this the CSR element is going to really benefit everybody for. I think it's going to be a way for people to see what lives outside your little zone. Do you know what I mean? Hua Hin is still a bit of a bubble, and there's a lot that goes on outside it. So it'd be interesting to try and draw a picture of what that looks like for ordinary people, and see what we can do to help in those areas as well.
Okay, good. Well, I'll get some contact details off you, and we might have them already on our post. I'll put them in this video,
right,
for sure.
Yeah, we have a link to a Google form. Very simple thing, and I say that just because I don't want anyone to be worried about clicking on the link, which basically just allows you to register for pre-sale tickets. So
do you know what tickets they cost yet? Do you have a
well, I think about 400 baht, based on not just on what's needed to make the festival work, but we're targeting about 300 people at least. So we get 300 tickets sold, plus we get the sponsorship. The game is game on. So if we can get a feel for how many people are really interested, that form, signing up to that form and getting these tickets will give you not only a promotional offer when the tickets go on sale, but allow us to sort of gauge interest and take that to the sponsors as well. So and also if you have some skills or some knowledge or something you want to share, we're interested in talking to people from all backgrounds, because Hua Hin does have a huge collection of people from all weird backgrounds.
I'm finding that out. Yeah, well, I've been finding that out, but I'm definitely finding that out with this podcast as well. So yeah, it's good.
So parents who want to get involved and who want to contribute something, or just driven to sort of they've got an idea that they think is like perfect for it. Yeah, don't be shy. There's a form in the form. There's a section where you can put your information in there, say where your background is, where your experiences, where your ideas are, and we'll look at each one.
Okay, very good. I think maybe you'll find, hopefully someone listens to this and you get their first few sponsors in, and then it just really gains momentum then. I think that's quite common sometimes with events, in my experience.
We do have pledges from a number of different businesses and organizations, which is incredibly encouraging. But yeah, we still need somebody who's going to take the name and say, okay, I want my name alongside the first annual festival for families in Hua Hin, because Hua Hin is becoming a place for families and they want to be part of that.
Okay, well, I'm sure we can help to get that message out there too.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you for joining me today.
Sure.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. You've been a natural on the podcast.
If you say so.
But thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Hua Hin Today podcast. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We're at Hua Hin Today Videos on YouTube and Hua Hin Today News on Facebook. We're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also subscribe to our email newsletter at huahintoday.com/subscribe. There you'll get the latest news, info and events in Hua Hin. And if you've got a guest suggestion or a topic you'd like us to cover, drop us a message or a comment. We'd like to hear from you. See you in the next one.